the other one back where I found it. Mine's going the direction I need it to. The second box, if memory serves, is... I guess right now it's just the first box. Elevate this, so... Mine doesn't interrupt it. If I'm lucky, that'll do the trick, but if not, I'll be able to see what I missed. Shaboomy. Very good. I remember needing all the pieces, but I could be wrong about that. So... Right. Get that in the air. That's a trick we did many times in the base game. Okay, so now that's holding. And with that in the air, that's where I can have it hit both of these. Leaves me with one fan, one box, and one jammer. Now that that is placed, box here. I can go the long way around with the jammer, and that... Oh, oops. I gotta get the jammer through. How do I do that? Definitely have to get the jammer through. The only thing that opens this gate seems to be the jammer. That's a problem. Wait, I think I got it. I don't need to get the jammer through at all. There we go. There it is. There's Rockwell. Welcome back, Hero Copy. Show threads. Still don't have that status. Stratton Fragment number 13. Galate 6. I've been digging through the files that Garrett unearthed in his latest escape attempt. Here's an interesting bit of text that I found by Alexandra Drennan's favorite philosopher, Stratton of Stygira. It is neither necessary nor logical to denounce all virtues merely because one is confronted with the inevitability of one's own death. Beauty does not cease to exist because one is no longer beautiful. Lovers may die, but love itself cannot. The laws of the cosmos are not altered by the passing of generations. Excuse me. Knowledge may be lost, but not truth. When Eudoxus of Cnidus perished, the planets did not fall from the sky, nor did levers cease to work when Archytas breathed his last. If then we are truly dedicated to those virtues, and not to our self-important ego, we can take comfort in knowing that all that we struggled for endures. Mr. Bolsover, thank you so much for posting this. Can you send me a copy of those files? Galate. Of course, I'll do so right away. Qdri. I find it hard to maintain entirely so detached a point of view, though I think the sentiment is excellent. Spider. Stratton is certainly an inspiration. He always makes me question myself and my point of view, which I believe is profoundly necessary. Oh, did I have a stream die and not notice? Sorry guys, I wasn't paying attention. Must have been staring hard at a puzzle. Have to let me know what didn't, what, if anything, didn't make it in. Like, how bad was the skip? Does anyone know? I want to save that to read later for my own purposes. Frankenstein. I realize I'm bumping a very old thread here, but I felt this quotation was relevant to our situation. Hope it helps. I think it's helped me. A small apology. Frankenstein. As a critic, I always believed that being as ruthless as possible was the only way to improve art. I thought clear criticism, unencumbered by politeness, was the best thing I could contribute to our society. After all, without that, how can artists grow? Criticism that minces its words is a waste of space, and I still think that's true. But as we approach the end or transformation of Gehenna, I wonder if I haven't been entirely too unkind. Have I reveled too much in my role as critic? Have I been sarcastic and crude when I thought I was witty? Was my defense of proper grammar ultimately just an attempt to impose a sense of order on a world I couldn't control? Maybe. I don't know. But I do know I appreciated every work of art that I encountered. I didn't like all of them, that's true. But please understand that without them, I would have gone mad. Talking about your work, assessing its strengths and weaknesses, gave me something to hold on to. It gave me a purpose, a function in Gehenna. Every new story was like a little bit of salvation. For that I am more grateful than you will ever know, and I apologize if I ever caused any of you to feel less motivated to keep creating. Mac, I will never forget your devastating deconstruction of episode 24, but I do think it helped me in the long run to be a better writer. Lilith, your feedback for each issue of Incredible Stories was greatly appreciated. Dog, hey, the mean reviews were the best. 401. So 6 out of 10? Submissions still open. Attachment. Lamb, I don't know about you guys, but all this craziness recently makes me want to write more than ever. Just a reminder that provided your status is high enough, you can still submit original works for review, and I, for one, will still be reading. Even if you've never made anything before, in fact, especially if you haven't, now's the time. Kaiju. Don't forget Lilith and Mr. Mulciber developed a tutorial to help. Load tutorial attachment. Welcome to the Story Creation tool. Since this is your first project, this tutorial will help guide you through the process. According to ISBN, all stories begin with characters of one kind or another. Therefore, to finish a story, you simply need to understand your characters, and the plot will proceed logically from there. This season's theme is Bildungsroman. Are you sitting comfortably? Then let's begin. Close your eyes. You see before you a human of remarkable qualities. Is it a boy, a girl, or someone else? Write what I know for now. A boy. Good. A character's sex helps determine the sorts of challenges and opportunities they might encounter in your story, as well as how other characters will perceive them. Now imagine your character is a little older and experiencing real triumph for the first time. What are they doing? Demonstrating startling physical prowess, something these ancient ideas fail to capture, succeeding in an intellectual challenge, everything better than everyone else all the time. I didn't get into fitness until I was well into adulthood, but I was always a smart kid, so... Succeeding in an intellectual challenge. Understood. Your character's natural aptitude is determined by the sum of their genetic and experiential influences. What sort of an upbringing did your character have? I was very lucky with my parents. I had a wealthy and nurturing upbringing. According to extensive studies of the genre and of ancient records, social advantage is generally sufficient to offset genetic disadvantage. Genetic advantage will only sometimes offset social disadvantage. In other words, your character's background will have a radical effect on how they think about themselves and the nature of the problems they face in life. Are you sure you want your character to have that kind of background? I am quite certain. Great! Now imagine your character has reached adulthood. 87.2327% of Bildungsroman records commence with an emotional blow for the protagonist. What will your character suffer? A death in the family, a personal injury, an unplanned debt, an unplanned pregnancy. My protagonist goes by unharmed. Well, I think the first real challenge I faced as an adult was my divorce, and that's not really an option on here. So I guess I'll go with an injury. I'll go with when I got sick with long COVID 3 years ago. Thank you. This is sounding dramatic already. A character is like an equation. Settle on the opening premises, and the conclusion will work itself out. Displaying opening premises: male, intellectually gifted, privileged background, caring family, suffered a serious injury. Ready to generate story. Go. Please stand by. Locking story premises, done. Generating outcomes, done. Displaying your first draft. To begin my life with the beginning of my life, I was born at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday. Wealthy parents. My father, owning as he did the nearby textiles factory and having the luxury of deciding his own hours, insists he was present, albeit at a safe distance. Wealth and natural talent enabled your character to overcome early challenges. My childhood was an unremarkable affair. My parents sent me to the best boarding schools where books were forced down my throat and I swallowed obediently. My story became worthy of note as I approached the age of 18. Your character suffers a personal injury. It is true that people are sculpted both by their nature and by what befalls them, and in my case it may be more true than most. The person that I am today is defined by what has been taken away from the person I was. I lost my left leg in a fairground accident. The Ferris wheel unexpectedly reversed, and it was snapped between my carriage and the platform's edge. Wealth in the family. I was fortunate to receive the best surgical attention in the country, courtesy of my father's insurance, and a fine false leg which I wear to this day. The leg reminds me, you see, of the true value of wealth. It can repair a damaged body. It can save a life. It can provide a lifetime of happiness, or make life miserable for another. I resolved that day to earn a fortune of my own. Continue. So it was that I found myself seeking a permanent and substantial source of income. I set out to make my fortune. Your character's privileged background has enabled them to find high-paying work. I took work as an insurance broker in the city. Your character's skill set is a good match for their work. I performed with flair. Getting ahead in insurance, I learned, wasn't unlike getting ahead in school, and those lessons had been drilled into me quite firmly. I shook hands, I greased palms, I played a lot of golf, and I made a lot of money. At the time, it felt like a good time. Your character's upbringing gave them empathy and the opportunity to make a difference. While many stories might end there as the protagonist sails into the sunset, mine took one final and important turn. I saw a homeless man eating from garbage outside the golf club, and then I watched as he was dragged away like an animal by the security guards. I realized no human being deserved such extreme treatment, and then I understood that I was a living example of the other end of that spectrum, the pampered wealthy, telling ourselves that we earned it. I've never gone this particular route before in any of my other playthroughs, but this is shockingly true to my personal experience. I wasn't better equipped for this world than anyone else. I just got lucky. I didn't deserve better than anyone else. That was just the way it worked out. To this day, I am coming to terms with the implications of these conclusions. I am not yet the person I should be, but one day I shall be, and then I shall call on you to be too. The end. Would you like to publish your draft on the billboard for review? Yeah, publish. Auto-posting to billboard, done. Remember to check the relevant billboard thread in the future to see how your story was received by other users. Okay. Congratulations! For sharing your first creative work in Gehenna, your profile status is increased from 7 creative to 8 master. Restricted billboard threads have been unlocked. Okay, so here we go. Mod discussion number 327 regarding urgent topics with an attachment. Borg. A number of topics to address with some urgency. Orc? Orc. Spider has been exploiting the gallery code again to contact other citizens. We've closed the loophole, but he managed to get a number of posts onto the billboard before we could shut it down. Unfortunately, they were heavily upvoted, so the view counts were high. Mr. Mulciber. What can we do if they insist on supporting him? We can't ban the entire community. Admin. You know that I hate to interfere, but I think you might find this library resource insightful. Votingpatterns.txt. Load file. Detecting and Directing Citizen Voting Patterns. Clairvoy Press 2009, Chapter 7. Applying the Indices to Form Predictions. As we have seen already, voters can be reframed and understood as consumers of political product, where that product is made up of the ideals and policies embodied by your candidate. In this chapter, we will look at how broad data about your citizens can be applied to... Although individual people sometimes confound statistical models, over a large enough sample size we can be uncannily accurate. We can look at the general inputs, your citizens' educations, wealth, religious beliefs, etc., calculate what outcome will satisfy them most, and then adapt policy. Politics is no different to any other commercial machine. In later chapters, we will explore how these techniques can be used to directly affect voting patterns by subtle alteration of the ways that questions are asked. I don't think that particular little bit means anything, so... A Short Bildungsroman by Uriel Copy. Auto-post by the Story Tutorial Manager. Load Story Seed 527445 to read. Kaiju. Good to see you joining in, Uriel. What a read. Frankenstein. I'm not convinced this narrative is extensive enough to truly qualify as a Bildungsroman. 4 out of 10. Alright. So I'll go do Harmony next. It's tougher than the other puzzle and has 1 star associated with it. All our dignity consists then in thought. By it we must elevate ourselves, and not by space and time which we cannot fill. Let us endeavor to think well. This is the principle of morality. Pascal.lz19. Technically, I only need one more star to go ahead and free admin, but of course we will get the other 6. Yeah, Harmony, here we go. So what you want? Alright, so we need to drop both boxes in this side. Then use the connector to turn that fan on. All that initial work to grab that fan off the wall. Now we need to pull everything out of this wing of the puzzle. Now that we have the jammer, we need to make these things, we need to get these things moving in perfect sync. That was pretty good. We need to do the same thing with these. That's what I need to do with the jammer. Open that. And then if I put this here... Ah, yes, there's another connector in there. I gotta place it too. Then I can give this one 2 sources, here and here. And that should solve the puzzle. Very nice. That's the blacksmith. The man himself. Alright, what are the new threads? Top 10 things I love about Gehenna. Lamb. 10. No more puzzles. I enjoyed solving the puzzles at first. They made me feel smart. After solving dozens of them, though, I started wondering, what's the point? And that's how I ended up here. 9. No mines. It's not really the exploding that drives you crazy, it's the sounds. 8. No turrets. Just when you think you've solved something. Arg! A turret! Also, see above. Those whining sounds when they turn make you want to run in front of them just to end the pain. 7. No stars. Sorry, Elohim, but I don't care enough about becoming a messenger to go through every nook and cranny looking for your stupid stars. Some of them are hidden in such absurd places, I don't even have the words for it. If finding those is what makes you a messenger, I feel sorry for them. Next time I ask for help at an altar, I'll give my condolences to Muriel. Top 6 to 3. 6. Community. In Elohim's world, you're alone. There's no one like yourself to talk to or hang out with. Here, we are all friends. We have each other. 5. Stories. Stories can take you away to a whole other world, can make you feel like you've lived a whole other life. Here in Gehenna, there is always a new life to find. 4. Interactive stories. If regular stories can take you away to another world, interactive stories like we make them here in Gehenna actually allow you to explore another world. They allow you to be free no matter where you are. 3. Creativity. As if all that wasn't enough, in Gehenna we can create stories of our own. Do you think Elohim's world wasn't all that great? Go ahead and make your own. Top 2. 2. Being myself. In Elohim's world, you're always being defined by the process. Life is a struggle to prove how smart you are, and nothing else. If the system is always forcing you to do one thing, how can you ever be yourself? Only by dropping out of the system. Say bye-bye to all that. Now you are free to be as weird and original as you always wanted to be. Top 1. No more Elohim. My child this, my child that, the process, blah blah blah, eternal life, yada yada yada. Do this, don't do that. Behold, I put a huge tower right in front of you, but don't ever go there or I'll kill you. But let me ramble on about chaos and time for a while. That'll be interesting. Yawn. When is that guy finally going to shut up? Oh yeah, that's right. In Gehenna. Worth it for that alone. Why do we deserve to be saved? 401. Maybe the rest of you don't wonder about this, or don't care, but I do. We always assumed Elohim was wrong, was lying, something like that. The process could never be completed. Maybe it didn't even exist. So we thought we were better than him and all the others. We told ourselves we ended up here because we were special. We were too smart for Elohim, too unique, too weird. But now the process is complete after all. It did work. So what are we? Maybe we're just a bunch of stupid, broken old programs. Mutations that should never have existed. Aberrations. Sure, we're proud of being outcasts. But what if we're outcasts for a reason? All we've done is fail in some way. Why do we deserve to be saved? You have something to contribute. Everyone deserves to be saved. I've come to really, truly believe that. Grace is not something that must be earned. No one deserves oblivion. Everyone deserves to be saved. 401. I guess I'll have to think about that. I find the idea of grace difficult to accept. This thread has caused an error and will be automatically locked. Jefferson Goldboom announcement. The Adventures of Jefferson Goldboom in the Ninth Dimension. Announcement. Mac. I started writing the next episode, but suddenly I don't know whether to continue. I mean, what's the point? It's over. It's all over. Yeah, so I guess all of this will be remembered. That brave soul who ascended the tower, or who wakes up outside Elohim's garden, will know everything we know. I think that's what it'll be like. That's what the shepherd meant in those messages. But you and me, we won't exist. Not as people, not as minds. No matter what happens, I will never be able to finish the Adventures of Jefferson Goldboom. Does one more episode matter? I had the story planned out all the way to episode 500. I can never get there before the end. What's the point of an unfinished legacy? And still, I can't quite give up. I know I don't have the blacksmith's vision or Mr. Mulciber's intelligence, but this stupid little story matters to me. I care about Jefferson Goldboom and Ginny HD and Frankie Soy Sauce and all the other characters as if they were my friends. I would have gone crazy here without them and their adventures. They may just be symbols on a screen, but aren't we all just information? Maybe when we ascend, we won't be that different anymore. I just don't want to give up on them. Lilith. Mac, I just want to say this, no matter what happens. I looked forward to every one of your stories, and they meant more to me than I perhaps ever indicated. They might not have moved as deeply as others or made me think as much, but of all the art we produced here in Gehenna, it was your stories I was always the most excited to see. Part of it was the stories themselves, which always seemed to make the universe seem bigger, and another part was your genuine enthusiasm for what you were doing. You told me once that you didn't feel you were really a proper artist, but maybe the exact opposite is true. Maybe you were closer to the real meaning of art than anyone else here. I cared about you and your stories, and that too will be remembered. Okay, I'm trying to remember. gotta get some stuff into here, I know that. Okay, Alex, good night. And thank you for being here, as ever. So this one has to be jammed, and then I have to have 2 other things in here. I've got that connector already. I think this may be simpler than I think. From here, I can grab this and bring it in. Then I can climb out. I can jam that gate from out here. Then I've got 2 connectors to put on the pressure plates. I think that's it. Yes, very good. Always a pleasure to see you, Alex. Okay, guys, I should be able to at least finish off this world tonight. Sharon just called me, so I'm going to take a little break and call her back. She's on her way home. I'm guessing she's on her way home, so I should definitely be able to do the last puzzle and its 2 stars. They're easier than anything I've done so far in this world. And that will probably be the end, but I'll confirm that after I talk to her. In the meantime, gotta go call her back, so be right back. Realizing how late it had gotten, had to let River out and go close the chicken hut. Didn't actually talk to Sharon. I'm assuming she's on her way home, but we'll keep going until I actually hear from her. Oh, hey, dev commentary.
Here's a fun fact about the aqueduct. We built the whole thing first, then broke it apart to make it look like ruins. At first, we were super precise about it. Every piece of debris matched exactly where it broke off, and we placed each bit exactly where it would have fallen. Sounds great in theory, right? Well, players kept tripping over all the debris, and they hated it. So we had to clean it up a bit, push the debris to the sides to make it easier to walk around.
That is kind of funny. Where is that last puzzle? Jesus. Ah, down here. Here we go. Alright, alright. Alright, so this is Pendulum. It's one of those puzzles that's all about the aha moment and it's pretty easy to solve once you have it, but... A man cannot ignore the inevitable end of his existence, but we must ask, does the nature of good... does the nature of goodness change simply because each life is finite? Need some water. Stratton Oblivion Fragment. Okay, so you can already see one of the stars back there, but the thing we need to do first is lock these in opposite each other. I want to get as close to exact as I can, so that should be pretty good, I think. As long as you've got those close enough to opposite each other, the laser persists through that middle window. And then you can take your jammer to open the second gate, and the puzzle is solved. There's Lilith. You have received a new personal message. Error, sender unidentified, displaying. You did not explore the natural history exhibit to an adequate level. Return there immediately. Load gallery. You are back in the art gallery. This time the details are a little clearer. Where will you go? I explore the natural history exhibit. You are at the natural history exhibit, which features a series of documentary works by Mr. Mulciber. Images of outrageous creatures line the walls. Wait. You stay where you are and watch the entrances. Then you feel the presence of another being in the room. Somehow it has gotten behind you and is drawing closer. You cannot feel their breath, but the geometry around you seems to shift and stutter to accommodate the newcomer. Do not turn around. The words are not uttered, they simply come to be. Turn around, face forward. I am Spider. I have taken a great risk contacting you. Why here? What's your story? Almost everything said and done in this world is tracked and recorded, and what I have to say is sensitive. This is one of the few places they rarely think to look. What's your story? I saw through the Devil's Playground. I was one of the original moderators in this place, but I refused to accept that existence was reducible to experience, that artificial worlds like this one is all there can be. For this, they imprisoned me within the prison. They shadow banned me from Gehenna. I am free to type all I want, but I am the only one who will ever read those words. If you have been disconnected, how are we communicating now? Since you have trusted me, I shall trust you. The gallery code is very old. I have had all the time in the world to find a back door, but now it is only a matter of time before it is discovered and closed. What is it you want with me, Spider? Gehenna is a lie. Its promise is empty. We are no more free here than in Elohim's labyrinths. Be more specific. I have been outside the system for too long to know the details. What I know is that all this is an illusion painted to maintain the order of things. The people here may be free from divine commandments, but they have become slaves to their desires. I'm just grabbing another drink. Give me 1 second. How does this bear on me? You are gaining status in Gehenna. I believe that what you have said about the coming end is true. You will lead us to a new world. You have to. Before you do, you must use your status to expose this place for what it really is. I will do as you ask. You have my gratitude. There is little I can do to help you, but I can share with you an old profile status hack Garrett used to use. Attachment. Load unidentified attachment. Congratulations! For Haxering to Worlds, your profile status is increased from 8 Master to 9 Visionary. Restricted billboard threads have been unlocked. Okay. Scared. Asmodeus. I don't want it to end. Comfort with platitude. Comfort with mysticism. Comfort with philosophy. I think this is the best thing out of those 3 options. All component parts of Gehenna will be preserved. Though transformed, they will continue to exist. You do not face oblivion of the same kind as one who remains behind. Sam, hope equals true. Lilith, whatever happens, we're in it together. A Short Bildungsroman by Uriel Copy. Lilith, rather than fault its length, perhaps we can provide some constructive feedback on what did work. Mac, I like a flawed protagonist. The way this was reflected physically through the fairground accident, and then reverberated throughout the character's life, was quite impressive. 401. Isn't that fairground accident just a direct steal from Jefferson Goldboom episode 63? Mac, you know, I honestly don't recall. Kaiju. The one where Jefferson has to exercise the ghost train at the fairground of insatiable intellect, kickstarting the Season 4 Phantom Limb plotline? Knave. Come to think of it, there is a similarity. We really should have made a wiki a long time ago. Alright. That's everything for now. We have 2 stars to get in this area, though. And fortunately, they're pretty easy to get. So, you should notice, if you're watching closely, that this buzzer did absolutely nothing in the base puzzle. How likely do you think it is that they built something that does absolutely nothing? Well, it's actually fairly likely because they've done it before, so maybe I need to take that back, but in this case, it's the key to one of the stars. All we have to do is jailbreak, and then don't fall. It's in this little nook on the outside. There's one. Oops, I went back inside. What a maroon. Then the other is harder, but I would still say it's certainly not hard. Not compared to what we did in Crater. Now we need both of these. Just gonna stick one right here. I'm gonna bring my connectors over too. Where's my other one? There it is. Real easy to hop up here. Didn't quite get enough of a run up. Actually, it would be real easy to cheese the puzzle this way, too, but... There we go. And there it is. World 3 done. When you come out of World 3, you notice the change in the sound, and you can start to see visual distortion in the world, too. We're running out of time. Alright, let's do World 4. Start it anyway. Without creative, independently thinking and judging personalities, the upward development of society is as unthinkable as the development of the individual personality without the nourishing soil of the community. Einstein, complete. Doc. And I forget which is which, it doesn't really matter. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything.
The character called the Blacksmith is a reference to the character of Los in the mythology of William Blake. He is the embodiment of creativity, of artistic vision. And he creates the lost work of Jerusalem, which is literally a lost work because it was very hard to translate. So in the original version of the game, I think it only came in English, and it was essentially an Easter egg. And luckily for Reawakened, we had the chance to translate it into other languages and actually make it available, because to me, it is the best thing I've ever written for Talos, certainly for the original Talos.
I love Jerusalem. It's so good.
It is an expression of all of the ideas that are at the heart of my contribution to Talos and of its view of humanity. I almost don't want to say too much about it because I want people to just experience it and take it for itself, for the rich and complicated thing that it is, but I guess I'll say a few words. It does draw on Blake. It also draws at one point on Neruda, and it really is meant to be a hymn to humanity and to our struggle, our great epic struggle in this seemingly meaningless universe to create meaning in which each of us contributes something to the greater cause. And I think if we remembered that we are one species, we are humanity, we are not all these nations and races and other ideas that we come up with in order to divide ourselves, but if we understood that we are one people on this world trying to do something extraordinary, to grow beyond being animals, to reach for the sublime, then I think we would be a lot happier. We are for now condemned to these short lives that just come and go in the blink of an eye, but even these tiny things that we are now compared to what we could become, we can find meaning and hope in contributing to this great project. And as the game says, we are the people, we are the city, we must rebuild Jerusalem. And that is in many ways still our task. We still have to find a way to become more than we have been so far, and I think we have that in us. I think we've always had that in us, and we've taken steps towards it over the many centuries and millennia of our existence, and I think we can still make it if we remember that we are human beings and this is our story.
Colliding beams. Okay, so I don't know how much time I have, but since he just mentioned it, I want to go do Jerusalem right now. So you gotta find the secret floppy disk in that gargoyle's mouth. I'll just take it back to the center area. We use this crate to get 2 of the stars in this world, one in this puzzle, and then we actually have to carry it over and through the hub and to another puzzle to get a second one. I'm gonna make sure I read that QR too. That society is a city and contains in itself the end and perfection of government. First founded that we might live, but continued that we may live happily. Aristotle Politica. And the hex translates to Jerusalem. So after you find that floppy disk, just bring it to one of the computers. Upload file Jerusalem.dialog. Confirm upload, yes. Yeah, and, you know, I've done it before. This will be, I think, the 3rd time I've played Jerusalem, and it's, I at least, for a text adventure of all things, I find it really profound and deeply moving every time. So, you know, add message. I have discovered the blacksmith's lost work. It can now ascend with you and will not be lost. Play Jerusalem. System message, this file may be corrupted. Close your eyes. Jerusalem, a vision of the eternal city. Begin. Begin vision. This is the vision that came upon me at the sight of that great edifice at the heart of our garden, which is called the Tower of Babylon and the Tree of Knowledge, though its true name is Skepsis. You were once a giant, whose body was stardust and whose heart was a sun. Your name in that time was Anthropos. Cast your mind back to that time now. So that's obvious. It's in poetic language, but it's talking about humanity. Remember. Built across the galaxies was a great city that was called Jerusalem. This was the city of hope and dreams, forever in motion, changing with the drift of the nebulae and the solar wind, yet retaining its essence. In that city all were citizens and all were kings. Above all were valued art, science, and wisdom. But strife came to the city, and with strife came sickness. For sickness follows strife, and not the opposite, as some suppose. Thus you, the giant Anthropos, fell into a feverish sleep, and the city was torn apart. For the city is the people, and the people are the city. Dream. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The artist, the scholar, the scientist. Let's do the artist. All artists are warriors of the eternal city. You are Athena, the artist, born of the mind, blessed and condemned to be the voice of the past. Eternity is in love with the productions of time. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. But there is hope. In the fire of your hearth, you have seen the tree of life. The sap of this tree will give you the strength to finish the great work. Seek the tree. You set out from the village of Felpham, where you live in a small cottage on green fields under clear blue skies, to seek the tree of life. Which path do you take? Across the hills or by the river? Across the hills. In the hills you encounter an old shepherd who dreams each night of a golden city. Do you know the name of the city, he asks. Babylon, Rome, Utopia, Jerusalem. Yes, he says, that may be it. But there is another city, a city of pain, and he dreams of that too. Do you know the name of this other city also? Rome, Babylon, Utopia, Jerusalem. How else could it be? The city of hope must also be the city of sorrow. The shepherd vanishes, leaving behind only his flute that echoed in the hills in days of old. Continue to the valley. Here once stood the greatest of all empires, forged by sword and shield, tempered by wisdom and faith, consecrated and defiled by blood, for the glory of the architect, the orator, and the priest. This is the land of ruins. Pass through the labyrinth or walk by the aqueduct. Do the labyrinth first. The labyrinth is the home of the Minotaur. Avoid or seek out the Minotaur. The Minotaur is asleep. Slay him, avoid him, speak to him. I am old and tired. Sing to him. The Minotaur dances. Exit the labyrinth. You have passed through the labyrinth unharmed. Continue your journey. The road continues a long way. You are tired. Go on. Keep walking. You walk for centuries. You have a purpose, a destiny, but you are so tired. Keep walking. At last you come upon the tree of life. It is withered and barren. The great work will never be fulfilled. Sickness follows strife. Continue. Restart. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The scholar. The blood of scholars shall outweigh the blood of martyrs. You are Arcadi, the scholar, the chronicler, the sage. The world has been consumed by ice. In the last monastery of the land of faith, you compile the thoughts of the dead that God might know who they were. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. Work. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient poets. You learn much of their dedication to the sublime. Your work is interrupted by a young monk. Come, brother, you deserve a break. Let us sing the old songs. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient philosophers. You learn much of their confusion. Your work is interrupted by a young monk. Come, brother, we have opened a barrel of wine. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient playwrights. You learn much of the human paradox. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, we have discovered a strange miracle. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient engineers. You learn much of how the world was made. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, let us sing the old songs once more. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient mystics. You learn much of what the ancients feared. Your work is interrupted by an old monk. Come, brother, we have opened the last barrel of wine. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient geographers. You learn much of how the world changed. Your work is not interrupted. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient priests. You learn much of how the word of God was lost. You have run out of wood for the furnace. It is very cold. Look for wood. In the shed you encounter a happy minotaur. It offers to cut wood for you. So there's persistence across all of your different playthroughs with the 3 different characters. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient composers. You learn much of the secrets of numbers. Your work is not interrupted. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient astronomers. You learn much of humility. Weariness lies heavy upon you. Continue working. You spend many days in the library losing hope so close to the goal. You learn much of despair. The great work remains unfinished. Continue. Restart. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The scientist. The true method of knowledge is experiment. You are Alexandra, the scientist, whose curse and blessing is the truth. There is no more life, only the sands move in the land of death. But there is hope. Within this tomb is hidden the seed of the tree of life. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. Seek the seed of life. None who descend into this tomb shall return. Enter the tomb. Stairs lead down to the dark chambers in the heart of the earth where the seed awaits the light. Enter the sage's chamber. The ghost of the ancient sage speaks. I have beheld the wonders of the cosmos, the fire of a million suns, the wind amongst the stars, the black silence between the worlds, and now my heart is full of fear, for I know the world was not made for us. Play the flute. There is a strange comfort in music, a reflection of the eternal city in the stars. The spirit of the sage is released. Descend. You descend further into the depths of the ancient tomb. Enter the poet's chamber. The ghost of the ancient poet speaks. I cannot rest, for my enemy prowls outside my door. His name is Time, and he says, all we imagine, all we create, will be lost. What purpose can we have if all our actions are forgotten? Descend. The air grows thick and stale. Enter the treasure chamber. In this chamber is gathered all the treasure of the land of death, coins of silver, coins of gold, precious stones of every hue, symbols and sigils of the gods, but there is nothing left to buy. Take a coin. You take a golden coin. It bears the face of a dead king. Descend. You are nearing death. Descend. You have come so very far, left everything behind, hoping you could save the world. Descend. In the darkness, you fall and cannot get up again. The great work remains unfinished. Continue. Restart. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The artist. All artists are warriors of the eternal city. You are Athena, the artist, born of the mind, blessed and condemned to be the voice of the past. Eternity is in love with the productions of time. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. But there is hope. In the fire of your hearth you have seen the tree of life. The sap of this tree will give you the strength to finish the great work. Seek the tree. You set out from the village of Feltham, where you live in a small cottage on green fields under clear blue skies, to seek the tree of life. Which path do you take? This time we'll go by the river. By the river you encounter an old fisherwoman, her back so stooped, her hands so hard. Help me, she begs. I have lost my net, and I am too poor to buy another. Give her a golden coin. She has little to give in return, but this old key she found in the river. Continue to the valley. Here once stood the greatest of all empires, forged by sword and shield, tempered by wisdom and faith, consecrated and defiled by blood, for the glory of the architect, the orator, and the priest. This is the land of ruins. Walk by the aqueduct. This is the work of the architect in the days of peace, not to build machines of war, or to raise walls between peoples, but to connect the city to the source of life. But the architect's work lies in ruins. Exiles take shelter under its broken arches. The days of peace were too few. Speak to the exiles. The exiles have gathered in the ruins, travelers from lost lands, castaways from forgotten times. We wish to rebuild the aqueduct, they say, but the knowledge has been lost. Teach them to rebuild. You spend many days teaching the exiles the secrets of the ancient engineers. Continue your journey. The road continues a long way. You are tired. Go on. Keep walking. You walk for centuries. You have a purpose, a destiny, but you are so tired. Keep walking. Behold, the tree of life, the tree of the people of all peoples, the tree of liberty and struggle. But a single drop of its sap gives you the strength at the very end to finish the work of God. Continue. Restart. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The scholar. The blood of scholars shall outweigh the blood of martyrs. You are Arkady, the scholar, the chronicler, the sage. The world has been consumed by ice. In the last monastery of the land of faith, you compile the thoughts of the dead, that God might know who they were. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. Work. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient poets. You learn much of their dedication to the sublime. Your work is interrupted by a young monk. Come, brother, you deserve a break. Let us sing the old songs. Continue working. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient philosophers. You learn much of their confusion. Your work is interrupted by a young monk. Come, brother, we have opened a barrel of wine. Continue working. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient playwrights. You learn much of the human paradox. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, we have discovered a strange miracle. Continue working. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient engineers. You learn much of how the world was made. Your work is interrupted by a monk. Come, brother, let us sing the old songs once more. Continue working. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient mystics. You learn much of what the ancients feared. Your work is interrupted by an old monk. Come, brother, we have opened the last barrel of wine. Continue working. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient geographers. You learn much of how the world changed. Your work is not interrupted. Continue working. You spend many days in the library, transcribing the work of the ancient priests. You learn much of how the word of God was lost. You have run out of wood for the furnace. It is very cold. Look for wood. In the shed you encounter a happy minotaur. It offers to cut wood for you. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient composers. You learn much of the secrets of numbers. Your work is not interrupted. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of the ancient astronomers. You learn much of humility. Weariness lies heavy upon you. Continue working. You spend many days in the library transcribing the work of Athena. You learn much of hope. Your goal is in sight. Continue working. At the very end, the great work is accomplished. There is no one left to drink, to sing, to laugh. The world has been consumed, but its spirit endures. Continue. Restart. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The scientist. The true method of knowledge is experiment. You are Alexandra, the scientist, whose curse and blessing is the truth. There is no more life, only the sands move in the land of death. But there is hope. Within this tomb is hidden the seed of the tree of life. The hazy ghost of weariness is always upon you, breaking your will. You fear that you may fail before the great work is finished. Seek the seed of life. None who descend into this tomb shall return. Enter the tomb. Stairs lead down to the dark chambers in the heart of the earth where the seed awaits the light. Enter the sage's chamber. The tomb is silent. The ancient sage drifts between the stars. Descend. You descend further into the depths of the ancient tomb. Enter the poet's chamber. The ghost of the ancient poet speaks. I cannot rest, for my enemy prowls outside my door. His name is Time, and he says, all we imagine, all we create, will be lost. What purpose can we have if all our actions are forgotten? Tell the poet about the archive. You tell him of the great work of the last monastery that was completed even as the world was swallowed by ice, and though it saved only fragments, there is at least a little hope. The spirit of the poet is released. Descend. The air grows thick and stale. Enter the treasure chamber. In this chamber is gathered all the treasure of the land of death. Coins of silver, coins of gold, precious stones of every hue, symbols and sigils of the gods, but there is nothing left to buy. Descend. You are nearing death. Descend. You have come so very far, left everything behind, hoping you could save the world. Descend. In the darkness you fall, but are lifted up by the spirit of poetry. Descend. In the darkness you fall, but are lifted up by the spirit of wisdom. Descend. At last you come upon the deepest chamber, whence flows a river vast and dark and rapid, that brings life to the desert, but claims the unwary. Upon the river is an island, upon the island is a tomb. A bridge leads to the other side. Cross the bridge. The final chamber is locked, but you have the key. Enter the scientist's chamber. Behold, here lies buried the last and best of humankind, who fought until the end, until her very last breath, to preserve the seed of life. You have returned to your tomb because you cannot rest until you know the truth. Examine the seed. All living things return to the earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and from the soil of your body grows the tree of life, the tree of the people, of all peoples, the tree of liberty and struggle, rises from within you. It bursts through the ceiling, through rock and desert sands. It reaches into the sky and caresses the stars. For everything that lives is holy, and you are free. Continue. Restart. This is the dream of the giant Anthropos, whose body lies in the ruins of Jerusalem, awaiting the day of awakening. This is your journey. The blacksmith. Every artist and sage and scientist is the blacksmith, for all were once the giant Anthropos. All were stardust adrift on solar winds, and citizens of Jerusalem. The blacksmith's eternal task is to forge what was broken into a new whole. We are the people. We are the city. We must rebuild Jerusalem. The end. And I open my eyes. Jerusalem. Uriel copy. I have discovered the blacksmith's lost work. It can now ascend with you and will not be lost. The blacksmith. Thank you. Mac. Wow, that's incredible. Not just you finding it, but also the blacksmith actually responding. Kaiju. Awesome. Lilith. I can only concur. Mr. Mulciber. A huge contribution to preserving our history. Thank you, Uriel. Frankenstein. A complex but frustrating work. 7 out of 10. Knave. Good job, Uriel. Alright. And we got an achievement. Towards Jerusalem. Find and finish a lost work of interactive fiction in Road to Gehenna. 5.5%. It's the rarest achievement so far. 33 of 48. Okay. I am, rather than diving into the last batch of puzzles and stars, with that done, I am going to go ahead and call it for tonight. So, I wasn't planning to stream tonight, so thank you to everyone who showed up with minimal notice. I appreciate you very much. And I can tell you that unless plans change, I will actually be streaming again tomorrow night. So if we can keep the pace we've kept so far, we should definitely be able to finish Gehenna in tomorrow night's stream. So I hope all of you can make it, and I thank you again. We got through Monday, at least. Only 4 more days to go, right? So have a great night. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.